What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Phaithful Phanatics Show. As always, I am one half of your host here, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. And that is not getting to my right today. Today, we have another co-founder of DSM Media, my co-host of NFL Turf Talk, and the host of Scotty Talks NBA, my man Scotty. You can check him out on Twitter as well at Scotty Drown. And of course, we are streaming to you guys live through DSM Media's Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook channels today. If you're new to the channel, if you're new to us, if you're new to DSM Media, head on over to at DSM_media. You can find the link tree in our bio to take you to every social media platform that we are on. And we are on just about all of them, Scotty. But how are you doing, man?
Not too bad, man. Staying busy today. Busy weekend all around, but nonetheless, trying to get back in the flow of the content creating world and get back to my regularly scheduled stuff. So, no, I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk some Sixers and some James Harden with you. And yeah, as the comments are already flowing there,
Yeah.
Ben Simmons. So yeah, I'm with it.
Listen, man, obviously the Super Bowl took place on Sunday, but we're not going to talk about that today. We'll get to that tomorrow night on Turf Talk Live here on DSM Media. But for today, me and you are going to focus on what took place this morning, and that is Ben Simmons' first time speaking out in public to the media for the first time in over 200 days, now as a member of the Brooklyn Nets. And obviously James Harden and Paul Millsap were introduced today, mainly James Harden, but Paul Millsap got in a question or two as well. So we'll break down we'll react to those two press conferences. But I'm not going to lie to you, as much as I would love to sit here and discuss James Harden as the 76er, and we will in the later portion of the show, but my attention is on the former 76er so far because it's right in your face. We watched it. I would love to sit here and be like, F him. He's no longer a part of the organization. We don't have to worry about him. But that's not the truth because, listen, man, today's going to be an interesting conversation. I know a lot of people don't want to discuss it. I know a lot of people, it's taboo, right? To even think, to come out and say that you might believe that a person claiming to have mental health issues is not telling the truth. But that's how I feel. So don't take it, if you disagree, don't take it out on Scotty, don't take it out on DSM Media. You can take it up with me because it's how I feel, and you can't tell me that you don't even have a sliver of thought that he's not telling the truth. Now, let's get back to the core issue. Ben Simmons is no longer a 76er. Ben Simmons requested out of Philadelphia because he was not mentally ready to come back. That conversation took place back in October, Scotty. That conversation took place. The outcry of the mental health issue took place after he realized he wasn't getting paid, after he claimed to have a back issue. And the Sixers said, no. Trainers say you're fine, you're good, you have to play. Oh, I didn't tell you guys I'm dealing with some mental health stuff. So excuse me if I'm hesitant in believing what Ben Simmons has to say now because his story has changed so many times, Scotty. And what it is, why I'm so angry about it is because in a day and age where we're taking mental health so seriously, especially men's mental health, especially professional athletes' mental health, right?
Yeah.
I can't just brush that under the rug. You cannot just make that up, in my opinion. I think he's making it up. Do I have any definitive proof? No, I don't. But I think he's making it up. Does he have some sort of issues? Sure. But not to what he's coming out and stating that they are. And that's an issue for me because it's an issue to people who actually deal with it, to men and professional athletes who are actually going through stuff, who don't want to come out, and state that they have these issues because they'll be viewed as soft or ridiculed, or there's the stigma of mental health issues. And it's bullshit in terms of this. He realized he wasn't getting paid. His agent realized he wasn't getting paid. So this is what they came out with. You're telling me that for the past 4+ months, Ben Simmons was not in the right mental state to even show his goddamn face at the Wells Fargo Center with his teammates? He wasn't in the right mental space to show his face. He wasn't in the right mental space to show his face in Camden with his teammates there. He couldn't talk to the media. He couldn't be on the bench with his teammates. But one day after he's out of Philadelphia, he's on a flight to meet up with his teammates. 2 days, 3 days later, he's on the bench with his new teammates, smiling. Today, Tuesday, after being traded on Thursday, he's able to answer questions and talk to the media about it. Because the problem with not discussing it, Scotty, is the fact that he can hide behind this shield. He can hide behind this, right? Because mental health. I have mental health issues. Everyone pulls back. They're afraid to ask the questions. They're afraid to say, maybe to dig deeper. Maybe he's not telling the truth, right? He knows he can get away with it. And I can't let that happen. It's complete and utter bullshit to me.
Yeah, I get why you feel that way. Just looking at it from the other side, the only reason, just specifically if you're like a reporter, it's not like he's gonna come out and be like, no, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I really fed you that bullshit. I'm
right. But
you know what I mean? I'm straight mentally.
He could refuse to answer the questions. That's fine as well. But you at least try to figure out why. Another thing, real quick, because it was scripted. Obviously, we know Ben Simmons was not just answering those questions on the fly. His agent, no one, talked to him beforehand, right? My issue is when you have mental health issues, when you're seeking help, when you're seeing a psychologist, a therapist, right? You're diagnosed with a certain form of a mental health issue, right? Like I brought this up to you guys earlier, and then I heard Tyrone Johnson say the same thing on the Miss Nelly show today. Anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, something, right? If you suffer from a mental health issue, you don't just continue to call it, yeah, it's the mental health stuff. Oh, yeah, I'm dealing with some mental health stuff. No. You're diagnosed with something. That's another thing that stood out to me. Bullshit. But go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, just looking at it from the perspective of media, because you just have to tread lightly. I mean, it sucks. It sucks that it appears that he's abusing the situation or the system, you could say. But the way I pose it and the way I posed it in my own episode of Scotty Talks NBA. I'm not going to sit here on a show and tell you that Ben Simmons is 100% faking mental health issues or, he has no mental health. I'm not going to sit here and speak for Ben Simmons, but the layout of the timeline of how everything has come out is very ironic and incredibly coincidental in coordination of what benefits Ben Simmons. And so, as you mentioned earlier, it went from like a physical injury to now, but I have mental health issues. I have mental health concerns. So it seems like if it was brought up in an honest situation where Ben Simmons is struggling mentally, he only pulled it out as a time of benefit for his own situation. Whereas if you were really struggling mentally, you could have came out and said that after or during the playoff series last year. And then the misleading part, and I see what Carlos is saying.
I do. Yeah, I'll get to it.
The problem for me is that when Ben comes into this introductory press conference with Brooklyn today, he says that his mental health concerns were not stemming from the fans, from the city of Philadelphia, from the coaches, from the comments.
That's my point.
So why is it that just turns around once you get to Brooklyn? That's not a change of scenery, because you're saying the scenery wasn't the reason you were depressed or having mental health concerns.
That is my whole thing.
Doesn't make sense.
Again, you said I will not come on a show and say 100%. I can't. It's my opinion. I don't 100%.
My opinion agrees with your opinion.
But so real quick, this 100%. We're not entitled to know. My point was, you can ask the reporters just gave him a pass once he said mental health issues. Everyone pulled back and they just said, "Oh, Ben, blah blah blah. How you feeling? Blah blah blah." Right? How's it feel to be in Brooklyn? Kyrie, KD, everything. Right? You can ask. Maybe he answers, maybe he declines, but you push a little bit. He knows he can get away with it, with not being pushed on, because he plays that card, right? And this is my point, exactly what you just said, Scotty. It's okay with calling a liar, guys. So he said, if you aren't happy in a workplace and you move to a new workplace, why wouldn't you be happy? It's a great point, fair point, correct point, except for the fact that the liar continued to lie when he came out in the beginning of the press conference and said he didn't want to leave, not because of the fans, the city, comments made, his teammates, coaches. He just wasn't right mentally. So how, if that's the case, if he's telling the truth there, how is that right? How does the change of scenery, the new workplace, magically cure him like
lying
that?
about something.
A liar you can just call a spade a spade. He's lying like in the beginning, right? And then this is another lie. Well, someone's lying in this point.
Somebody's
right?
lying, yeah.
He came out and said he's been dealing with this for over a year, Scotty. Before last season, right? He claimed that the Sixers knew about it. However, no one spoke on it. Ben, the Sixers, there was no leaks, no nothing about that until his paycheck was being withheld in October. That's my point.
Yeah.
So excuse me if I'm hesitant on believing him in this scenario. It's taboo. It's not right. My point, because everyone says, right? People are going to look at me, and I'm sure Carlos is questioning what I'm saying, because people are going to look at me and say, Dylan, you're making it harder for people to come out and say, you know, that they have mental health issues and they need help because I'm saying that someone's lying. My point is, no. He's making it difficult because now he's just setting the tone for playing this card. Because where was it, Scotty? It was nowhere to be found. He was fine. And then he came into training camp in October after not reporting. And what did he say? He had a back issue, right? He had a back issue at first. And then it came out. That's fair enough. Agree, disagree. You can believe Ben Simmons. That's okay. But I don't believe Ben Simmons, and that's also okay. That's the point of this conversation.
Yeah.
Is just because someone claims to have mental health issues, in this case, I'm not buying it. And you don't just have to blindly believe someone because they play that card. Yes, he's an effing narcissist. And it's it's evil, in my opinion, the route that he's chosen to go. And it's bad, man. And here's another, way we can look into this topic as well, Scotty, and factoring in James Harden, because it's not just me. Like, if it was just me being like, oh, Ben Simmons is lying, blah, blah, blah. My issue is how the national media went from dogging this dude when I supported him, when Philly fans everywhere supported him, when there's a video of a dude in Game 5 in Philadelphia helping him with his, trying to cheer him on for his free throws, right? Philly fans, they're dogging Ben Simmons, right? Now Ben Simmons comes out today. He's no longer in Philadelphia. He's a Brooklyn Net. Mina Kimes, Torrey Smith, and your TikTok was amazing. Just retracting every negative. They never said anything bad about Ben Simmons. They never dogged him at all. Philly fans are the worst. Philly fans are the center of his mental health issues.
So corny, man.
And now he's the answer. My problem is not just that. My problem is not how the narrative has just changed so quickly. It's here come all these leaks about James Harden and his time in Brooklyn. All of a sudden, Ben Simmons is this hero. Ben Simmons is in Brooklyn now. He's the missing piece between KD and Kyrie. They're going to be championship contenders. His game's magically fine. Everyone forgets the free throw percentage. Everyone forgets the pass open dunk. Everyone forgets everything. And now James Harden was this bad teammate in Brooklyn, right? James Harden, was flying to strip club, was flying to a different state after not traveling with the team to go out at night. James Harden didn't get along with his teammates. James Harden, come on, man. Like, Carlo, are you a Sixers fan? Like, I'm not even saying that just because you have to be a homer and be a Sixers fan, but what are you? Because how are you defending Ben Simmons in one light and being James ain't no saint either? James isn't a saint, but going to strip clubs at nighttime and, what I think Ben Simmons is lying about are two completely different topics.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go like the James Harden route, of comparing the two situations, whose situation is more reasonable? James Harden, who never wanted to go to Brooklyn and play with KD and Kyrie, went to Brooklyn and then ultimately tried it, figured out, oh, I don't like this. Yeah, see, you're saying James quit on his team. Like
Carlo's saying a
no,
Sixers
Carlo,
fan, bro.
no. This is where I have a problem with Carlo. Because no, that's looking at one side and ignoring the other. That's
Right,
not
like Ben
right,
Simmons,
man.
Ben Simmons didn't quit on his team, Scotty. All of a sudden, he
That's
didn't
not
quit.
right. That is not right,
That's
man.
not the point.
Look at the situations for what they are. James Harden got traded to Brooklyn, where he did not want to go, from Houston, where he did not want to be. He always wanted to go to Philly. So he goes to Brooklyn, tries it out with KD, his friend Kyrie. And guess what? Kyrie's a fucking weirdo. KD's always injured. So now Harden wants to go to the place that he originally wanted to go to, and he's some criminal. When he actually has a hamstring injury, he's not coming back until after the All-Star game. So, like, what are you saying here when you're defending Ben Simmons and his mental health concern?
Scotty,
He sat out a whole fucking half a season he lost $19 million. Like, are we joking? He quit on his fucking team, Carlo. Are you joking? Like, that is pissing me off, bro. Like, that is weird.
Carlo, I've asked you a question 3 times. You're not a Sixers fan. Are you a Nets fan? Before we continue going back and forth with you, what are you? Because you're not in here. You said it for Philly, but buyer beware. So what fan base do you reside in? Because you're not a Sixers fan. And I'll guarantee he's either a Lakers or a Nets fan. All I'm saying is you cannot compare one dude, not being a saint. He does whatever. Lackadaisical play because he wants to be out of somewhere. And another dude who took a couple comments. Right. I say he's a Nets fan. Oh, he's a Sixers fan. Agree to disagree. But
and I don't mean to be disrespectful, Carlo. I just have a lot of animosity built up towards Ben Simmons.
Yeah,
so
man,
it's a touchy subject.
There's no correlation with me there. Look, even Chili's saying he wants to be here.
That's the biggest part of it.
I'm trying to get it out correctly. I'm trying to get it out politically correct. I'm trying to get my thoughts out all in one time, and it's difficult. It's just one dude, like you said, Scotty, he wanted to get from Houston to Philadelphia. He had a layover in Brooklyn because Houston wouldn't deal with Philadelphia and Daryl Morey, right? They tried it, didn't work out. He runs it back this year with them. Obviously, he's under contract, and it's not working out. He says, you know what? Enough's enough. Get me to my destination where I wanted to go before. Another dude completely and utterly shits the bed in a playoff series. Has one negative comment made towards him in his entire life. And he takes his ball and goes home and forces his way out. So to me, comparing the two are just so different because James showed up. Another reason James Harden is was pissed off at the Brooklyn Nets, Scotty, and why he has missed these games, because he actually is hurt. So did you know that the hamstring that's injured is not the same hamstring from last season? Did you know that?
No, I did not.
So it's the other one. He had the last one was torn because he played through it for the Brooklyn Nets and tore it. He said, no. They wanted him to keep playing on it. He did keep playing on it for a little bit. He said, no. I'm done. I'm not playing on this. And that's why he's been out. And that's why he's sitting out until after the All-Star break. All right. Is there anything else we need to get to with the Ben Simmons press conference before we move on to the more positive press conference that was James Harden's? Because I've said my piece. It's
just to follow up, just finishing the comments about the national media, because it's a travesty what they're doing. And it's with this trade, I'm so happy that it gets to happen because it makes it so obvious how things change. Like they did the same exact thing with Carson Wentz and it's not that I want Carson Wentz to be vilified or turned in. I just want him to be treated the same way he was treated when he was in Philadelphia. And so when I see these guys go to different teams and now they're anointed as this elite player, now I saw this thing from ESPN on YouTube earlier. It was their thumbnail said, "Is Ben Simmons primed to be a leader of the Brooklyn Nets?" What the fuck are you talking about?
That's one of my main issues, dude. It's my
leader.
Issue number one is the fact that I think
play.
Issue number one that I have is the fact that I think he's not telling the truth in this situation, and that is a major, major problem. And then issue number two is how just because in your mind, after seeing what when you defended someone and you saw what the outside world used to say about them, and now you've kind of you went through that process, and now you're on the other side of things, and the rest of the world, like, it makes you feel a little effing nuts.
Makes me feel nuts.
It makes you like, whoa, hold on. The ESPYs, literally, I retweeted the video.
That's not Philadelphia.
The ESPYs made a video mocking Ben Simmons. But Philadelphia fans are the reason he has mental health issues. Philadelphia fans are the reason this happened. It makes me go effing, like, in my mind, I'm like, hold on. Am I crazy? Like, did this not happen? Did X, Y, and Z not happen over the last year and a half?
What did they tell us when Ben Simmons was on our team last season? We got the number 1 seed. What did everybody tell us going into the playoffs? And ultimately, they were right. Don't get it twisted. Like, I defended Ben Simmons. They were right. Everybody told us it doesn't matter what we do leading up to the playoffs. It doesn't matter. Ben Simmons will disappear in the playoffs. Ben Simmons will become ineffective in the playoffs. And now, all of a sudden, he's the key to the Brooklyn Nets' future.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense, man. And to hear it come in, like, and it's not about that narrative per se, but to hear the things that Torrey Smith was saying or to read them on Twitter, I'm ashamed, man. I have a lot of respect for that guy. As obviously he won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. You would think that he gets it.
Yeah.
He gets how we feel and how we do things in Philadelphia. And instead,
he mocked Ben on social media before.
He mocked himself.
Everybody
Nina Kimes mocked him himself or herself. It's a clown show, man. It's ridiculous. Stephen A. Smith, goes on these rants. Like, how does he not get, like, I don't understand. I could do it myself. I should, honestly. Because before the trade, he says the Sixers need to get rid of Ben Simmons. They should be desperate to get Joel Embiid out.
Everyone wanted him moved for John Collins. Everyone wanted him moved for Buddy Hield and Harrison Barnes. But they go, Daryl Morey holds, and goes and gets effing James Harden. And now this could be the biggest mistake of Daryl Morey's career.
In first-round picks.
Made the Brooklyn Nets so much. Oh, yeah. Don't get me started.
First-round picks.
A reporter that asked Daryl Morey today, by the way.
Oh, my God. How's that a question you have lined up?
James Harden's at the podium, and this dude's asking Daryl Morey what it feels like to not be able to trade a first-round pick for 7 years. What the like, Scotty, I'm going nuts today. That's why, like, and I wasn't going to do this. I talked to you guys, and I'm like, I feel this way. I don't really want to come. Like, it's a little bit, it's taboo, right? But I've listened to the Missinelli show. Stephen A. Smith, after Ben's press conference, came out and said, Ben's not telling the truth here. There's something wrong, right? Because when you come out and you say it's not the fans, it's not Joel, it's not Doc, it's not the organization, it's not the city, it's me, it's mental, I need it out of here. Or I needed to take time. Why didn't you just request time off? Why didn't anyone know about the mental issues until your paycheck wasn't getting cash?
Why'd the trade request come first?
And wasn't this another sneaky comment that, like, he threw in there too? The mental health stuff had nothing to do with the trade. That was a line in there. You guys can go find a transcript. It's one of the first lines in the press conference. Tough sell for a guy who's trying to convince everybody that the sole reason he held out and needs out is because of mental health issues. That's my point. That's why I'm calling him a liar. Because when you tell so many lies, Scotty, over a period of time, and they get so jumbled up and you're put on the spot, you start to contradict yourself and you start to say things you didn't mean to say.
Yep.
Why in the hell would he say the mental health stuff had nothing to do with the trade? But on the other hand, said that the trade had nothing to do with the city, the players, the coaches. He wasn't mentally right. He's lying through his teeth. And it's okay. It's okay to believe him, because people that do suffer from mental health issues should be able to come out and say so and get help, and people should believe them. And it's okay. But it's also okay to not believe somebody. I'm not coming out here. Scotty, did I say Brandon Brooks was lying when he wasn't okay to play? How about when Lane Johnson went back to Oklahoma for a couple weeks and he wasn't playing for the Philadelphia Eagles? Did I
Lane Johnson, he sat out multiple games in an NFL season. No questions.
No. The reason I do it for this dude is because of the timeline, because of the continuous lies within the timeline. And then if you just listened, if you just peeled back the mental health card for a second, you could tell something's not right there. You don't just continuously say the mental health stuff.
Yeah. And
when you suffer from something.
And quite frankly, at this point, who trusts Ben Simmons' character? Like, you know what I mean? Like, Lane Johnson's a good dude. Brandon Brooks is they're good people. What has Ben Simmons not a good person? He's not a good, like we've said throughout the comment, or like our listeners have said throughout the comments, he's a narcissist. That's not a good thing. Like, that's not good. Like, he's not a good person. And so, like, yeah, I mean, he's a lost cause. And how about him referencing, like, he basically, like, in my mind, said he wants to be Joel Embiid, except he's not Joel Embiid. Like, he referenced, like, the dribble handoffs with JJ Redick and Marco Bellinelli. It's like he thinks he's going to do that with KD and Kyrie Irving.
Right.
Yeah, Kyrie Irving, they're not going to want the ball, Ben. They're not going to want the ball.
How about those comments about James Harden, too? About how James Harden wanted to play ISO ball, a lot of isolation. But Kyrie and KD said, no, we need a team game. Okay. Kyrie Irving doesn't want the ball in isolation. Kevin Durant doesn't want the ball. Give me an average. This is another point to it, too, Scotty. Lane and Brandon also used their platform to promote the fight against mental health. Wonder if Ben did. Lane and Brandon, they're actually dealing with things, right? Mental stuff. Yes, they had to sit out. Did they need to force their way out of Philadelphia? No, they're still here, right? Because they actually are suffering from a mental health thing, right? To me, I know these things may not be mutually exclusive to a lot of people, but to me, with the Ben Simmons thing, it's either he's suffering from mental health stuff and he needs out, or he got his feelings hurt and he wants out of Philadelphia and he wanted his money. So you get what I'm saying? So if it was really the mental health stuff alone, why do you need out of Philadelphia?
Like, is a broken ego, is that like a mental health diagnosis?
Yeah.
Because that's what
narcissism.
That's what he's
straight up narcissism.
That's what he's struggling with right now. A broken ego.
Yeah, and it's all sunshine and rainbows over there in Brooklyn until KD gets to the playoffs with this dude and realizes, oh my God, like that's the thing. I love Brooklyn fans too, bro. Like, not forget national media. Wasn't every other fan base clowning Ben Simmons in the playoffs last year? But now all of a sudden Brooklyn won the trade and he's going to fit so great next to Kevin Durant and Kyrie.
Somebody said.
Did you forget the Hack-a-Ben thing last year where he shot 30% from the free throw line?
Somebody posted a graphic of like the Nets closing lineups.
Did you see the graphic of like 4 dudes shooting and then it's Ben in the background passing the ball off?
Oh no, I didn't see that one. Yeah. No, but there was a graphic. Somebody had posted a picture of the Nets potential closing lineup. And was like, look how deadly this could be. And it's just like, dude, like, are we joking? Ben Simmons won't be closing games. Like, are we joking, man? It's looked like a complete joke. And, just as far as, like, the national media, even Ben Simmons, like we talked about earlier, just be honest for once. Like you said, these guys are lying through their teeth. And it's becoming embarrassing for them. Like, just be honest. Like, Mina, if you do feel differently about Ben's mental health situation now than when you tweeted the harassing tweet that you tweeted at Ben Simmons, then address that with your tweet as you're raining down on Philly fans for his mental health concerns.
Well, I'm pretty sure she's a Nets fan, isn't she?
Huh?
I'm pretty sure she's a Nets fan.
Is she? I know she's a West Coast person. So I don't know if she's.
I feel like on the NFL Live show, I feel like they've joked around about it. I've heard her say that she is because she loves Kevin Durant. I'm pretty sure too.
She's probably okay. So she's probably like a bandwagon Nets fan, which whatever.
I mean, this is the greatest part too. Like don't get me wrong. I love these two dudes. I'm actually thankful for. I'm actually grateful for their contributions here in Philly. And don't get me wrong. Seth balled out last night, 23 points. But people are losing their effing minds over it, Scotty. If 23 points, you realize James Harden averages 23 points a game? And 23 for Seth Curry is popping off, right? But people, oh man, we love Seth. Oh no, him in Brooklyn. Him in Brooklyn. Oh my God.
But Harden's washed with 40-point triple doubles.
Yeah, bro. All right, let's move on to the James Harden press conference. Going on 31 minutes in, and I got what I needed to say on my chest. It's making go effing nuts today, thinking about it and thinking about all the things I wanted to get out today. But
because
yeah,
Torrey Smith like said something about, do fans not think they weigh in on athletes' mental health?
Well, no, and Mina's thing too about the shit she sees, and how closely fans can get to athletes now, which I'm not. That's true. I'm sure there's some horrific things in athletes' DMs.
What I want to ask them both is, do you think that Ben Simmons saw my tweet degrading him in his free throw shooting, or do you think they saw Mina Kimes and Torrey Smith's tweet? Because those are the ones going viral. So you're the ones affecting your own counterparts' likelihood or well-being. So just to be transparent there. But
dude, I think it was him. I think it was Dan. What is it? Dan Le Batard, whatever his name is. There was a clip of him on Twitter today saying he hopes that Ben Simmons takes the wrath of hell back on Philadelphia and pays them back for what happened to him.
What happened to him?
What in the actual fuck are you talking about?
What happened to him?
Oh my God, you're talking to the two last defenders of Ben Simmons here, and now it's just switch. It's done a full 180, and I'm going crazy. That's why I need to see James Harden on a basketball court playing real minutes for the 76ers next to Joel Embiid, and my mind it'll clear right up. Okay. Let's get to that. Let's get to the positive press conference today, because it was awesome. By the way, Paul Millsap with the quote of the day literally made me laugh sitting, and I was sitting there watching it, and I was like, oh shit, that was pretty funny. But poor Paul Millsap had to sit through that, but he had to know what was coming. That to him? But he had to know what was coming, right? That happens all the time. It's obviously, if Daryl or Doc's not getting a question here and there, the focus is on James Harden, and Paul got his 2 questions, 3 questions, whatever it was. Felt bad for him, but you knew what was coming. But yeah, so James Harden said a lot of things, nothing surprising. There's nothing that jumps off the page here. Just a lot of raw emotion, let's go, let's get it done. A couple things he said, Scotty, that really stuck out to me. Obviously, the hell yeah. The hell yeah championship aspirations here. Hell yeah, we can bring a championship to this city. That got me going. The full go after the All-Star break, I love that. The collaborative effort and thought process by him and the Sixers to, what? There is something going on with the hammy. Let's rest up the hammy. Let's get it back full strength. You can sit out these next. They only have 2 more games, right? Before the All-Star break tonight and Thursday. And then after that, we're full go. Love that. It's uphill. It's only uphill from here. And then just hearing him talk about the other players. Obviously, we knew he'd get questions about playing with Joel and the pick and roll and how they can elevate each other's games. And I love that. But I loved hearing him talk about the 2 other guys, and Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey. And a couple things he said that stuck out to me with Tyrese Maxey is just kind of his motor and his aggressiveness. He's just his aggressive mindset to just get to the basket at will 100% of the time. And then the aggressiveness to hit the open shot. That's why you've seen his 3-point percentage increase this year. And I love that James noticed. I love that he knows that. I'm sure, he was coached up before the press conference, and maybe people said oh, here's some things you should know. But the fact that he notices this about his brand new teammates, I liked hearing that as well. And then it's a Tobias Harris thing, because I don't know if you picked up on this. Daryl loves to include Tobias in his answers. He doesn't make it a Joel and James thing. He makes it a Joel, James, and Tobias thing in terms of winning the 3-core right now. And that really sticks out to me as well. But hearing Harden, once Tobias' name got thrown out there, he was like, he's a dude that can give you 20 on any given night. And it's my job to get that out of him. And I was like, oh, yeah, here we go. That. I really liked hearing that. So what did you hear from James Harden today that stuck out to you? And yes, I did these 2, him and Joel. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I mean, James Harden, man, he's interesting. And, I never really took the time to, get to know the personal side of James Harden. I was never, a huge fan. He kind of started the flopping stuff, and I wasn't a big fan of it. But now that I, have grown to love Joel Embiid, I have accepted flopping into the game. So I don't hold that against James anymore. And obviously he's a Sixer now, so there's nothing to hold against him. But
it's okay. Wipe those hands clean. You're good.
Yeah, 100%. But just get into see his personality a little bit and kind of see his maturity And, just thinking back to what we were just talking about with like Ben Simmons and Brooklyn and that whole situation, some of his comments about Brooklyn were interesting as well. It seems like they got some loser mentality going on over there. Whenever KD's out of the building, everything goes to hell, basically. So that was an interesting part for me, is that he was not very high on Brooklyn. Like, he spoke a lot about what we have going on in Philly and how that is focused totally 100% on winning. And it just makes me, is that not the focus in Brooklyn? Like, what was the focus there when you have three superstars come together like that? So to hear him talk like that. And then also you mentioned Tobias Harris. He spoke on Maxi's confidence in his motor. You do love that. And I think with the Tobias Harris, either fans are very misled by Tobias Harris' performance, and that Tobias Harris is very well appreciated by the Sixers organization, or they're just covering their ass because they're paying him a shitload.
Yeah, he's a max contract guy. Yeah.
So you got to include him in those conversations. But one thing I wanted to point out that I noticed as well was his comments on Doc Rivers, which, give or take whatever you may think about Doc Rivers personally, I know the fan base isn't high on him. There's a lot of negative remarks around him with the fan base, but he is a highly renowned coach. He has a great resume. And what he said on Doc, one of the best coaches to ever coach the game of basketball. Why would I want to be led by that? That's huge for me, because one, it shows, and this feeds into my next point. One, it shows that he is humble to the point, like, he's cut that ego down. He does not think he's over the coach. And that's a huge thing, obviously, with Doc Rivers, and then obviously transitioning from Ben Simmons to James Harden. He comes in, he says, I'm going to fill the role that is needed of me. He said, I'm a player. I'm so good. I can do everything else that this team needs. I don't need to take away from anybody else. So those were all huge things.
Yeah.
And ultimately what I insinuated from those remarks is that he understands this is Joel Embiid's team and that Joel Embiid is number one. And I think that has to be understood. And I think he has a great understanding of it, because everything he said about Joel Embiid today was praise, how he's talked to Joel Embiid in the past about playing together, about Joel Embiid being the best center in the NBA, about them both being on this caliber, that they're so good, they don't care how they're going to fit. They're going to figure it out because they can do everything. So it doesn't matter, right? So those were the little things that I was looking at today. And then obviously the buying in with the fans, like he knew what he was doing going in, calling Philly the best fans in the NBA. And
Yeah.
Right. Like, he knew what he was doing there.
Played right on the heartstrings, and it worked.
Exactly. It works every time. So ultimately,
also,
I would give him an A+ on that introductory press conference.
Also, it's just words, but he did say he will be opting in to that contract. He didn't have the time. And I did see something that he didn't get the paperwork in on time. So maybe that is the truth, right? He, you want to do it just, the paperwork was due at X time. Not going to do it yet, but he will opt in. And this is awesome too. This is a great comment what Abe said here. At the end of the day, it isn't what we think about Doc. It's about the players that are under Doc and what they think about him. And I think that's important to remember too. It's, we can get on Doc, and it's okay to critique and criticize Doc, because the bad resume is out there. We saw it in the playoffs as well last year, right? He has his flaws. But the fact that those flaws don't discourage players is huge. The fact that he's still a great leader and a great coach, and they have a great staff, is huge. Because if those blown leads, like if Joel Embiid or if James Harden, like Doc, but they know his history, and then last year you see how it played out in Philly, and it's like, maybe guys start to lose faith in you and lose faith in your coaching ability. That doesn't seem to happen, right? So we can get on Doc, we can critique him, we can criticize him, but the players, I think, believe in him and trust him, and he's going to do the same with those guys. But Scott, one thing I was interested in, I think he received a comment on kind of the different centers that he's played with compared to Joel, but something I was just thinking about, like the pick and roll game between them two. I know we're dying to see it, but what do you think it changes like, though? I feel like it's going to be more pick and pop and mid-range kind of stuff, feeding off the pick and roll and open shooters, because former centers that he's played with, let's just take Clint Capella for it, right? Best example. A lot of rim runners, right? Pick and roll, get to the rim. You see the lob plays. You see all that stuff off the glass. This with Joel's not, I don't think he's not going to be a rim runner. His mid-range game is so pure and so good that, you use that big body. James comes around the screen, pick and pop, bang, or open shooters coming off the wing when more help comes from the baseline or whatever. What do you think of this pick and roll game? What do you think it's going to be like?
When you have somebody as skilled as Joel Embiid, the possibilities are so endless. Like when you're operating with two guys like James Harden and Joel Embiid in a pick and roll setting, in an offensive setting in general, the fact that they can do everything, there's no limits to what you can do with them. Because like I'm just thinking about different spots on the floor, what he can do with pick and pop situations with Joel Embiid. And then also, once you get in the flow of those things, you will start to see Embiid roll to the rim every once in a while, right?
Yeah,
Just
for
keep
sure.
the defense guessing. So there's so many routes. Like you can do dribble handoffs between James and Joel Embiid. You can do,
Because I guess
dribble
that's
drives.
to build off of what you said. I guess that's a better way to preface it, right? He's different than those centers, right? So
Yeah,
Clint Capella, well, he's just the example we're using. He's got no mid-range game.
right.
So Clint, and you saw how that pick and roll was dynamic. Joel can rim run, but the mid-range pick and pop is still going to be there.
Yeah.
So just the elevation of this of this tandem of this pick and roll could be huge.
I mean, just imagine it like this. You're trying to stop a pick and roll with Joel Embiid.
I love this too.
Yeah, no, I think that's 100% the biggest point. And just playing on 2K just for reference, that's where I've noticed it as well. His passing ability, he can pass the ball in ways that nobody else on this team can pass.
Off topic, I can't play 2K anymore.
Why?
I can't. I talk about this with one of my buddies a lot. Like I try to, and then because I don't play for a while, and then like I get in this mood, obviously the Harden move. So I went on to do it the other night, and it's like the gameplay. I think like 2K16 was like 2K16 was like my last good 2K. The gameplay, like the body movements are too extreme.
I feel you.
You cut to the left, bodies going to the left. You're playing defense. You go to the right, bodies running directly to the right. There's no shuffle. There's no nothing. And I can't do it.
Yeah,
I'm not horrible.
I'm not somebody that you're going to see online playing in a ranked leagues or anything. I'm just playing the franchise by myself. Yeah. But no, I feel you. Cause like all the like extra, like a step back three.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard as fuck.
Like there's no motion to it, bro. Like you cross someone over and you're like, all right, I'm going to hit him with a step. And it's like your body starts running the other way. And now your back's to the rim. And I'm like, oh, hold on. I'm trying to shoot.
It's weird as hell, man. And, Joel Embiid's frustrating to play with on there too, because they don't make him as versatile as he should be. But no, what I was saying, just imagine you're defending a Joel Embiid and James Harden pick and roll. And when James Harden comes around Joel Embiid's screen, the man coming off the hedge, you have to decide, like, am I going to hedge out and guard James Harden coming off that screen? Because the player can't go under the screen. You can't do that against James Harden. He's going to cash that out every time. So now if you don't hedge, James Harden's going straight to the rack. And if you do hedge, Joel Embiid's wide open, a shooter's wide open, something's wide open. So this offense is going to be completely unlocked, and we finally get to see it after all these years of wondering.
I think what's so beautiful about it too, even you just see the videos of him day one in practice, not just the step back three, not just the spot up 3-point shooting that he was doing with Tyrese and Embiid, but the handles. And it was like, and it's weird to say because our former point guard has extreme handles as well, but there was always the question, he's not a pure point guard. Now there's James. James always been a shooting guard his whole life, but to see a Sixers point guard put the ball on a string like that and then be able to get his own offensively off the dribble is going to be something we probably haven't seen since like 2003.
Bro, he enjoys the game, and that's what we see in those like little practice videos. That's why it makes our like hearts warm, is because he's having fun playing basketball. And the way you get to the elite level of skill that he has in certain areas of the game, it's by having fun and just going out there and playing and trying dumb shit a lot of the time. And then you just work on it all the time, and now you make it. So like him and Joel Embiid, they're so common. And you saw it today in that video. They're so similar in that sense where they just love to learn.
I can't wait to see it. Part of it sucks that it's on the road first. There's 2 road games after the break before a home game. So it sucks that his first game isn't at the Wells. So like tonight, If he would have played tonight, it would have been
yeah.
his debuts at the center.
He's talking about the Cavs game, though.
Yeah, no, I know.
Oh.
I'm gonna get to that.
You were talking. I got you. You were talking to me. I got you.
Yeah, but that game, I just wanted to just touch on it because that's a hell of a win. Again, I've said that a couple times this year. That was a game I figured they would beat OKC on Friday night.
Yeah.
Even, they made the trade. They don't have Seth and Drum. They're shorthanded. They still beat OKC. I thought for sure they were losing to the Cavs. The Cavs are always a team that give the Sixers issues. They give them beat issues sometimes. And shorthanded like that, I just figured that on a back-to-back, they'd lose. And this dude puts out another Herculean effort, a 40-point triple-double. Scotty, he's on another planet. And, what do you think that meant to him? To go out there and get this extra win you weren't supposed to have, and you know what's coming in a week. You know who's going to be by your side every night in a week. And he's got to be even. You said how James Harden just loves and enjoys basketball, right? And he looks happier now in Philadelphia. Yeah. Imagine how happy Joel effing Embiid is right now, dude. Yeah. The cavalry is here. Yeah. And it's here in a big way.
That's what I was gonna say. In these last final games heading up against the All-Star break, you got Boston tonight, you got Milwaukee on Thursday. Joel Embiid can go all out for these games. The light is at the end of the tunnel. It's there. James Harden is coming. And so if Embiid wants to go all out, even if maybe not Thursday, but I think tonight he'll go all out again and he'll see if he can grab another, steal another game from Boston, who's hot right now. But right now you're playing with house money, right? You got nothing to lose. You got, like you said, reinforcements are on the way. The cavalry's coming. James Harden is coming. I don't even know what else to say about it. I really don't.
It doesn't sound real.
He's putting up a 40-point triple-double without James Harden against the Cavs, who are the number 5 seed in the East right now. So, one, it opened my eyes to the Cavs. I was a little nervous if the Sixers were to run into them they don't have a fucking chance against the Sixers. It just reassured me that they don't have it. I thought Jared Allen, all-star, or maybe he could, give Embiid a headache a game or two or something. No, he's not. He doesn't stand a chance against Embiid, just like every other center. So it gave me confidence in that, just going against the Cavs, just because we haven't played them all season. But nonetheless, James Harden is on the way, man. Thank God. I still don't even fucking believe it.
Scotty, they wanted to move him for Buddy Hield.
Yeah, I was with it. Buddy Hield and Halliburton and Barnes.
Forget Halliburton. People would have did it for Barnes and Hield.
Malcolm Brogdon. I said I would have done the Brogdon trade.
I know this is off topic, and I do want to just get our predictions for tonight's game and get out of here. But something that Stephen A was saying, right when the trade was made, and I've heard other people nationally talk about it. They're talking about Morey, right, in this trade, and they're like, how do you go from asking for first-round picks from people in the Ben Simmons trade to giving first-round picks? That's how you know he lost the trade. Assholes. When they were asking for first-round picks, they were trading for Buddy Hield and John Collins.
Right.
Not James Harden.
This isn't rocket science.
I don't know,
man.
What are you talking about? Do people not realize they're oh, well, how'd he go from trying to get 2 first-round picks to giving? Because the getting first-round picks was a C+ to B- player. The giving first-round picks was for an A+ player. I don't know what doesn't equate. I don't know what's not locking into people's minds here. National people, smart basketball minds, actually came out on ESPN and said these things.
Yeah.
And they'll try to make you feel stupid with it too.
They will.
Dummy. No, duh. They'd get first-round picks for Ben Simmons, for Buddy Hield, or John Collins, but to get James Harden for a dude that doesn't want to play right now, you'd have to give 2 first-round picks. Holy shit, it's not that hard to figure out, guys. Wow. But
it's craziness, man.
Regardless, last person I wanted to touch on, I know we've talked about him already, but James Harden, I think the addition of him is going to add so much for Tobias Harris, dude. And we're already seeing an elevated level of Tobias Harris. He went through that slump. He went through the back and forth with the fans. He went through the trade rumors, right? The salary dump rumors. And he's really elevated his game over the last couple of weeks. Now inserts James Harden. Toby, probably won't be handling the ball, bringing the ball up the floor anymore.
Good.
He's now the third or fourth scoring option in the starting five.
Great.
And he can get back to those quick decisions.
Yep.
He's got the mismatch again. He's not dealing with another team's, primary defender.
Yep.
It's going to open up so much for him. It's going to open up stuff for Maxey. The Maxey fit, I'm going to lean with Gint a little bit. I think it's going to take a little bit more time to get that going, because I got to see how he looks off the ball. I got to see. He was already not struggling, but he was around 15, 16 points per game as a third option. What's he going to be as the fourth option with James Harden, who, is probably going to take 15 plus shots a night? It's going to be interesting to see, but I love it. They kept him. They kept Tease. Happy about all of it. So someone there that no one's talking about as well, Paul Millsap's a 76er. I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not like, oh, we got Paul Millsap, but I'll take him as a throw-in. A guy. I don't know if you heard the report either, but something that I found out again through ESPN, which kind of makes me sound like I'm contradicting myself. But Paul Millsap, he hasn't played for Brooklyn recently.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an injury. It was undisclosed, like, personal reasons. And there's rumors that the aging vet, same thing probably with Harden. He didn't want to deal with Kyrie and the locker room, so he wasn't playing due to personal matters.
Yeah,
now
he's in Atlanta whenever the trade.
Yeah. Happened. So Paul Millsap can give you something. He's a nice piece off the bench.
Yeah.
For the time being, you can play small ball 5 with him at the 5. He can stretch the floor as a backup 4 or 5. Yeah. He's a veteran. He's played for a lot of good teams, made some playoff runs before. I'm all for the Paul Millsap edition. You think he gets run tonight?
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that works out. He is a little bit older, so like getting implemented.
He's like 37 or 38.
I don't know. It's like maybe that's a reason you would get in tonight, because he is older and he can adjust quicker. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I do think he does get in the rotation eventually, though, so we'll see. I would expect Doc. He likes his veterans, so he'll probably give him at least like 5 minutes tonight or something. Just get him out there. But just to kind of talk about your 2 other points there as well. Just starting with Maxey, I definitely feel you. It's while I'll say on paper it looks like an awesome experiment. Like they look like they do like different things, so they could balance each other out in that backcourt. I do think it's going to take a little bit of feeling out process for Maxey for sure. Because you got to subside to Harden. Like, let's be honest, it's James Harden. You have to subside to him. But I do think there's a world where Tyrese Maxey still stays at like that third scorer and Tobias goes to like
quick, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm just thinking of it. So, like I said earlier, James Harden is technically a point guard as of right now. Mm-hmm. He's always been a 2 guard, right? He took on the point guard role in Brooklyn because Kyrie's been missing all this time, and mm-hmm. he was bringing the ball up the floor, setting up their offense. His assist numbers are up. We know he can do all that, right? But if you're Philadelphia, obviously, they can rotate. James can bring the ball up whenever the hell he pleases. But if I'm Philly, James Harden's my 2 guard. Like, I know it doesn't really matter, but I know some people are, oh, well, Maxey's going to be a 2 guard. No, why would you not just keep Maxey as the point and let James go back to where he was a 30-point per night scorer as a 2 guard off ball? So it's just something to think about. Like, James Harden doesn't have to be a point guard. He took on that role in Brooklyn, showed you he can do it, but ultimately he's great at either.
And I think eventually, and it's kind of what I said when we did that initial show breaking down the trade, like Maxey has shown that he can get better in so many facets of the game that he's going to figure it out. You know what I mean? And I just think it could turn into a situation where it almost gets like matchup based in a situation. You know what I mean? If Harden's taking one of those thorough defenders, one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, maybe Maxey's bringing the ball up, making it easier for Harden. So you get some leeway when you finally get another elite ball handler back there. And hopefully, even if it's Harden run the first unit mostly with the ball and then Maxey stagger again and run the second unit, they got to get creative. Doc has to get creative. Danny Green's another guy. I think his production could go up with James Harden as well. More open shots. He was missing Ben Simmons just like Tobias. So I think all of those guys will benefit. And then one other thing with Tobias Harris, just because you pointed him out, I 100% agree. This is a perfect scenario for him. And the good thing about it is if it doesn't work this time and it's because of Tobias Harris in the postseason, it's going to be a lot easier to move him in the offseason with one less year on his contract. So you get James Harden in here with Tobias and Embiid, and you still have Maxey and Thibault, whatever.
Right.
We get to see if Tobias can be that third guy like we thought he could.
I think he can.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I think he can. Dude, it's so exciting.
It is.
And it feels like we have to wait forever to see it. It's only a couple days. It's only the All-Star game's on Sunday. When do games resume? Tuesday or Wednesday of next week?
Yeah.
I think February 25th is the game he could play in. So it's probably later next week. It's not that far away. We're 10 days away from the debut of James Harden, probably.
And he's sitting out of the All-Star game.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean, though? Like, for somebody that everybody claims he's this, like, party animal, he's sitting out of the All-Star game. What I'm insinuating here is that from his press conference, from what he's doing,
he's business.
A full go. It's business. It's
right.
go time, like you said.
If he wants to do what he wants to do at nighttime, I don't care.
I don't have anything against
obviously,
him. Obviously, I don't care.
Obviously, I'm not cool with if we're in Denver and we're flying back to Philly and he goes out in Denver. Like, probably not cool with that, but he didn't want to be in Brooklyn. He was pulling his antics to get out of there, right? And people, obviously, maybe it's not the greatest look, but hey, for us this time, he's a Sixer, so I really don't care.
Exactly. We're going to give some leeway, man. We dealt with Iverson.
Yeah, that is facts. Delilah's is going to be one happy place. All right, Scotty, before we hop on out of here, I need your predictions for tonight's game.
You know what? Harden introductory press conference. I know the Celtics, they're on like an 8-game winning streak. I think the Sixers are going to snap it tonight without James Harden. I do got the Sixers winning 107-95. I have it written down here. I think it's going to be if they do win, they're going to have to play really well defensively tonight, hold down Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, who have not shot very well against the Sixers this year. Both of them under 30% from three specifically. Even Jaylen Brown's under 40% from the field against the Sixers this year. So they have not played well against the Sixers. I think the Sixers can win tonight. I do have them winning just based off the momentum that they're picking up. I think they're excited right now. I know Joel Embiid is excited. I feel like he feels like I can go out there and play my best every single night. I don't have to kind of hold back or anything. I know he's been balling out every
not
year,
that. Not that. And I know I'm going to give my prediction and get us out of here, but I know you got to hit the gym before the game, so I don't want to keep you. But it's just making me laugh, man. Like, are you seeing the tweets from national sites on Twitter? Like, after they beat the Kings last night, the Kings snapped their 11-game losing streak. Fire emoji, eyes emoji, blah blah. And now you're hearing all the reports, right? And Bruce Brown talking about how the locker rooms, the vibe, the locker room's happy, everybody likes each other, and everyone's focusing on that. And there's even like Philly fans who are like, oh no, like Brooklyn's better. Brooklyn, they're happy now. They're blah, blah, blah. You don't think this Sixers locker room is happier? You don't think there's a weight lifted off their shoulders? You don't think they're about to they're having more fun now? Get the hell out of here, dude. Everyone's focusing on the wrong thing. What if with Brooklyn? No. This is with the 76ers. Tonight scares me.
It's rough.
Boston is red hot. The Sixers technically are still shorthanded right now until he plays.
Yeah.
With the TNT game tonight at home against Boston, and then Thursday night on the road against Milwaukee.
TNT too.
Yeah,
man.
It could be a 2-game skid for them before the break, which pains me to say, but they're riding high. Joel Embiid is just finding ways to dominate games, and he's not going to let them lose. Hopefully, like you said, that momentum, that happiness in the locker room. Maybe James Harden rings the bell tonight. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
So we'll see. I'm going to go with the Sixers win. I'm not betting against them right now. I'm not going against them.
Not right now. And I think of the 2 games left before the All-Star break, this is the one.
This is the more winnable one.
This is the one you grab.
Which normally plays out in the reverse way. They lose tonight and then beat Milwaukee on the road when we expect them to lose. But I think this is a different Joel Embiid, different Sixers team. Guys, that is going to do it for this episode of the Phaithful Phanatics Show. It started out extremely dull and controversial, and we found our way back to happiness here as James Harden is indeed a Philadelphia 76er. Guys, head on over to manscaped.com and plug in our promo code DSM for 20% off and free worldwide shipping. Again, that's promo code DSM at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. For myself, for my co-founder here at DSM Media, the host of Scotty Talks NBA, and my co-host on Turf Talk. Have a great night and go Sixers.